People don't really believe or understand the power that they're using to manifest on a daily basis. So you have to start thinking positive about finance. Stop being afraid of it. Fear is a low vibration, low frequency. When somebody says, raise your vibration, raise your frequency, it's a real statement. It's a real scientific statement that can be measured on a computer screen. But when you take your mind from the thought of hoping and begging to commanding, the brain waves flip and the frequency goes higher and the wavelengths get closer. And when that happens, every thought that you're thinking goes out into space-time. And so all those thoughts are floating around in space with data on them. That data is picked up from the universal consciousness. And then it swings back around to you all the things that you need to make those thoughts happen.
One of our audience's favorite guests is Billy Carson, whom I've had previous wonderful, enlightening conversations. Billy is back with me today to talk about raising our frequencies and dovetailing that into prosperity. And I have to say, we just changed the open to the show this very minute because you say, hey, Regina, I have a book for you.
Yes.
I do my homework. I had a whole script done here.
Right.
Well, you brought Woke Doesn't Mean Broke.
That's right.
And I thought, whoa, what's this all about? And you started telling me, and so I made an executive decision on the spot.
Yeah, right.
So first of all, in a nutshell, what's this about, and why did you decide to write it? And then we'll get into the book itself.
Well, the book itself is about how to combine spirituality and spiritual practices with understanding how to navigate this financial matrix. I think often people say that people who are spiritual shouldn't have financial abundance, shouldn't be wealthy. They're supposed to be poor in some kind of weird way. They really believe that people who are chasing spirituality shouldn't have anything. I think it's the opposite. If you're walking around talking about you are the light, the power is in you, we can manifest our reality, and you can't pay a light bill, I don't think people are going to believe you.
Yeah.
And I think abundance means something different for everyone, and that's okay, but you should walk in abundance 24/7. And then you need to understand the financial backing behind and instructions and information on how to actually achieve that. So I wanted to combine the two together.
I don't know how you address this level of people who are in service industry jobs that don't want to go back to them anymore because the pay's no good, the hours are long, and they feel more or less abused in a lot of cases.
Right.
Let's start there at that level of employment. And how do you address people in this situation?
Those people in those situations are some of the most incredible people on the planet in terms of their creativity, the way that they think. Their memories are phenomenal, especially in the service. And their memories are incredible at service. I mean, I go to restaurants a year later, people go, oh, you want this, 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 and this. I'm like, what in the world? And so these people have specific passions. And so I would tell them the key is to find your passion. Get a piece of paper out, get a pen out, an old-fashioned pen and paper. Start writing down the things that you like to do, whether it's a hobby, something you're passionate about, something you always wanted to do, and fill that paper with all these ideas. And then start choosing which passions are, you kind of gravitate towards the most. And then once you do that, start researching and investigating what industries need this passion, what people, what companies need this passion that you have, something you have, who can use it? Because the key to making money is to find a need and fill it. And so you want to do that, but within your passion, so that when you find a need for your passion and you provide that need, that energy exchange, well, the side effect is money in your bank account. And now you're doing what you love to do and you're getting paid to do it. You'll never feel like you worked a day in your life.
No, that is very true, and that's how you live, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I'm lucky to live that way too. Most people haven't had a chance to really move into that zone yet because it's not talked about or really encouraged in society at this point in time.
You can start off working that skill with another company. You have to start off somewhere. You got to pay your dues. You always have to pay. But while you're working that, you're learning all the aspects of how the business runs. You're doing your research, you're learning. And then on the side, you may start doing your own thing. That doesn't mean you're trying to steal business from that company, but eventually your main goal, your main plan is to be able to be your own boss.
Right.
And sometimes you've got to pay your dues. And you may even have a chance to branch off from that company, maybe start a franchise. But while you're doing these things, you have to be able to spend your money the right way. Live within your means, live within your budget, make the right investments. Don't keep blowing money on partying and hanging out and things that have no value.
Right.
At some point, you've got to say, look, I partied the majority of my early years. I got to sit down and grind right now.
Right.
And early in my early years, I was grinding. Right. Now I'm at the point, if I want to, I can sit back and relax.
Right.
I flipped it. First of all, we have to realize one thing. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink because you're thirsty. I added that little extra piece to it. And so somebody has to become thirsty for themselves.
Yes.
It's just like being addicted to any kind of a drug or anything. If you don't admit that you have a problem, you'll never be able to get healed or cured. Okay, so the first thing is the person has to be real with themselves. I have a problem with handling and managing money. It's been generational. Through all the generations up until me, it's been like that, or at least within some time period, the way that I started managing money, it's been horrible. I have to admit, that person has to admit that they've got a problem with that and be willing to want to learn. And especially if they have a family or if they started a family, they've got to realize, wow, I'm just burning through everything and churning through everything. I'm not leaving anything for my kids.
Right.
I'm not leaving anything for the future. And so, yes, you can't take it with you, but you can set up future generations who are still going to be here to have a chance, an opportunity to maneuver and do something in this world.
And what's so amazing about you is, well, a lot of things, but you're so highly developed in this area now, and we're going to talk about partly how you got there, and also the fact that you're so highly developed in the world of esoterica and understanding the underlying matrices and principles behind how manifestation, how life, how reality itself. So I opened the page to this. You can give us a setup before this, and I want to talk about your Billy Club plan. It says control the matrix. You have to play in this matrix.
Yes.
So let's start there.
Well, we have to first understand, like admitting that you're an addict or something like that, or a poor money manager. You have to admit it. Well, we have to admit that we're in a matrix. Some people don't want to admit that we're in different levels of matrices. We have the financial matrix, we have the esoteric matrix, we have the holographic matrix. There's different ones. The financial matrix, everybody can relate to that. There's a system that's been set up globally that keeps us working and paying taxes and churning and churning and churning, right, until we die. Well, we have to admit that it's real. Some people don't want to admit it's real. It's a real thing, and you have to know how to play in it. So you have to understand that there's a system here. But just like Neo in the Matrix movie, he was able to maneuver through that system, understanding the inner workings of the Matrix. He was able to make it bend to his will. And so if you're just going to play by the exact rules that have been set forward, and you're not going to figure out all the different loopholes that they've actually provided you, then you're going to actually fall prey or fall victim to suffering in this Matrix. But there's a way to play in this Matrix to make it work for you. You just have to understand the inner workings of it and what things you can and can't do to make it work to your benefit. Well, everything starts on the consciousness platform. Just like you have a platform, which is like social media platform, you have a TV network platform, everything. The consciousness platform is the original and first platform.
Yes.
And so on that platform is a platform of light waves. And so people don't really believe or understand the power that they're using to manifest on a daily basis. But if you look around us, everywhere, everything has been manifested from thought to reality.
Yes.
Even this cup was thought in a brain, and now it's here and I can touch it. So it works the same way in the financial markets. It works the same way in abundance. You have to first go into a mindset that you want abundance. Not that you're hoping to get it. That's a different mindset. Hoping and wishing for things is a low frequency. You want to create a wavelength, an amplitude and wavelength in your mind that oscillates at a very fast pace, which means that the waves are very close together, not spaced out. And so if you put a wave cap on somebody who's hoping and begging and wishing for something, you'll find that the oscillation is very slow and wide, and that the amplitudes are very high, the trough and the height. When you get into a person is now believing that something is happening or believing in the moment that it's actually occurring, that they're an active participating in the now, that it's for them, the wavelengths will be very quick and the wavelengths will be short and very close together, which means they're at a high frequency. So when somebody says, get in a high, raise your vibration, raise your frequency, it's a real statement. It's a real scientific statement that can be measured on a computer screen. Digging deeper into this 688 page book, we only skimmed the surface of a couple of things, a couple of principles. I love that you shared the bowl meditation with us, because we can see this can be used for any number of manifestations or for clarity and understanding and discernment. So give us a couple more principles we can go away with for those who aren't going to get around to reading all the whole book. Right. I think you have to be willing to be very real with yourself. That's the biggest problem we all have. A lot of people don't want to be real with where they are. We can have a private conversation. You may want to, admit to me that I'm weak at this or I'm weak in that area. Be firm with yourself. Like, I'm really weak in these areas. These are things. Get a piece of paper and a pen. Write down the areas financially that I'm weak in, and then say to yourself, I need to learn this. I can go out here and I can research all these things. I can watch all these YouTube videos. I can study all these other things. Why can't I study this? Something that's going to directly affect me and future generations. So that's the first thing I would do. Be honest with yourself. What are you weak in? Stop putting it away. Stop hiding from it. We hide from the things. So we still want to be able to do what we want to do.
Right.
instead of making certain sacrifices. In order to get ahead with yourself financially and your other generations, you have to be willing to make sacrifices. It can't all be fun and games. When you find your passion and you work within your passion, that's the most important thing. That's the big trick to this whole thing. Then you can smell the roses while you work. First of all, you're enjoying the work.
Yeah,
you're getting satisfaction from the outcome of your actual work.
Billy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I need to hire you as my coach. Full of such tantalizing scientific wisdom. And you can find out a lot more by visiting his site at forbiddenknowledge.com. That's with a 4, forbiddenknowledge.com. You can also see my previous interviews with him here on Gaia and check out his own work here on Gaia. Until next time, thank you for joining us here on Open Minds.
We've got to start to work to change the beliefs about money and how money works and understand this financial matrix a lot better. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Woke Doesn't Mean Broke. So financial therapy is a growing field that focuses on the emotional and psychological roots of financial behaviors that create financial stress. Now, you have to understand something. Financial stress is one of the largest reasons, actually, not one of them, the largest reason for divorce and breakups between relationships in the world. Financial stress. That's where a lot of it begins. Yes, people cheat and do all these other things, but the number one reason, this is a case study. The number one reason is financial stress. By addressing the beliefs, thoughts, and habits related to your financial life, it's possible to bring about real changes. That's what we're doing here today. The source of the ineffective belief doesn't matter, but recognizing and addressing harmful money beliefs is very important to your financial progress. Beliefs create and limit your reality. So we know that everything is based on your belief system, which is one of the reasons why people tell me all the time that after they study a lot of my content and information, I tore down their belief system, right? Their belief system in other areas of life. Well, I'm going to do the same in finances. A lot of people have been living in the financial matrix, operating and running purely on software programming and not understanding that this is a matrix that can be reprogrammed, and it can be reprogrammed by you specifically. Realizing that our actions, feelings, and behavior are the result of our own images and beliefs gives us the level of psychology and has always been needed for changing your personality. That's Maxwell Maltz. Examples of beliefs that keep you poor. Rich people are greedy. That's a big misnomer. That's a big, big mistake. Rich people are greedy. In actuality, a lot of the times, believe it or not, it's the opposite. It's actually the opposite. And I know because I'm in these circles of people that are pretty wealthy all the time. I know billionaires personally on myself. When I can call up a billionaire, he checks on me, I check on him. I know multimillionaires. I'm around people that are wealthy all the time because I want to be in the presence of wealth all the time, because that's what I'm attracting. And I will tell you that these people, the majority of them, are some of the most giving people on the planet. I didn't say they were the nicest. I didn't say that they were the most respected. I didn't say that they were the most understanding. I said these people are some of the most giving people on the planet. Some will argue, well, they got to give money away because of taxes. They don't have to give anything away because of taxes. There's a million ways to cut taxes. They actually do it because they actually like to do it, and they give a lot. A lot of the programs that are in place for children in a lot of these underprivileged communities, that money, a lot of it comes from rich people donating money. A lot of the activities that go on in a lot of these extracurricular sports like AAU and Junior Olympics, that comes from rich people giving money. I just donated, every year I donate a sum of money to a particular program. I just went this Saturday and dropped off the check. And why do I do it? Because I believe in that program. I believe in helping those kids. I coached basketball, and I saw that a lot of the parents didn't have the money for the fees. They couldn't afford the fees. But you know what? They took a leap of faith and brought their kids there anyway every single day to practice. And some of these kids are the most talented kids in the world in those sports, in that sport, which at that time was basketball, at that age group. And I said, you know what? I got to support this at all costs, no matter what. No matter how big I get, this has to be supported. There's a lot of people out there with money that help a lot of things behind the scenes that never, ever even look for a thank you. Never look for appreciation. Never look for an article in a newspaper about them. They never even get mentioned in most cases. So the mindset that rich people are greedy, you're basing it on what you've seen on TV and in the movies, and the small number of people that you even think or know that might be wealthy, that might be even wealthy. Because a lot of people you think are wealthy aren't wealthy. They're not rich at all. I don't deserve to be wealthy. Another big problem. Again, going back to your belief system. If you don't think you deserve to be wealthy, guess what? You don't. And wealth doesn't mean you have $100 billion. It means freedom, financial freedom. Are you building a legacy? Are you setting yourself up for retirement? Are you making your life easier so that you can live longer and be more at peace? You're in your relationship. Are you leaving something behind for your children, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren? Are you giving them an edge up on everything so that they don't have to start from -0, come up out of the mud every single time? When you die, are you leaving debt to your family, or are you leaving them with prosperity? Okay? That's what it's about, being wealthy. I'll have to do a lot of things I don't like to become wealthy. That's another ridiculous thing that keeps people poor. You're already doing a lot of dumb things. You're already doing a lot of things that waste a lot of time, like sitting in that cubicle all day and making somebody else rich, like punching that clock and doing whatever you do a lot of the times, right? It's not about, doing things, doing a lot of things. It's about how you appropriate your time and the knowledge and wisdom that you appropriate with that time, how you apply it. My friends won't like me if I'm rich. Another thing. Now, if you got people that you saying are your friends, and then you become a little bit more wealthy than them, or you become richer than them, right? And then they're angry at you for that, then guess what? Wake up call. They were never your friends in the first place. Wake up call. Very few people actually have a friend. I'm going to say that again. Very few people actually have a friend. You have acquaintances. You have a lot of acquaintances, but you have very few friends. So if somebody all of a sudden starts turning on you because you're getting wealthy or rich, they were never your friend to begin with. They were just an acquaintance. And acquaintances come and go, all right? Just like the weather patterns. Money is the root of all evil. The Bible actually says the love of money is the root of all evil. They always seem to leave that part out. The love of money, is the actual quote, is the root of all evil. And that's the biggest reason why a lot of people are afraid of money, because they think that if they want to find out how to make more money, they're going to be considered evil, or they're chasing Satan, the devil, and all this crazy foolishness. Actually, it's all fake. Okay? First of all, heaven and hell is a state of mind. There is no real hell. Heaven and hell is all a state of mind, number one. Number two, money is not the root of all evil. Money is nothing but an energy exchange. Money is something, it's just a piece of paper. I mean, I can make anything money. I mean, right now, this is money, right? This bent up or folded up $20 bill. We think this has value. But guess what? If I'm ice cold and freezing inside of an igloo somewhere and my heater is broken, I'm going to light that money on fire. Money is just an instrument for an energy exchange. You have to exchange energy with something else or someone else in order to create this instrument. And it's just a link between the two things. So money has nothing to do with being evil. Money has nothing to do with anything except for that it's the result of an energy exchange. Okay? So money is not evil unless you want to use it for evil. You can choose to use it for good or evil. It's up to you. And if your consciousness wants to use it for evil, then it's on you. It's not on the money. Money is just a piece of paper or a digital 0 and 1 that doesn't really even exist at all. We attribute a conscious value to money, and it really doesn't even exist. It's just an archetype inside the matrix, the financial matrix. I can't be spiritual and have a lot of money. That's why I wrote the book. Woke doesn't mean broke, because you actually can. Matter of fact, they both go hand in hand, because, like it says, to whom much is given, much is required. And if you're able to be given, in position to be given or acquire financial literacy, and that generates revenue for you, income for you, prosperity for you, then a lot of is required of you. Okay, you'll have a responsibility. You'll have a responsibility, and so that responsibility requires spiritual understanding, so that you're properly guiding yourself, not being guided by some outside entity, but guiding yourself, your own spiritual consciousness, guiding yourself, and to make the right decisions of what to do with that money. Okay? I'm disrespecting my parents if I make more money than they do. Now, that's ridiculous. And I've heard this before, actually, believe it or not. Okay? Where I grew up, people were extremely poor. Poverty wasn't even a good term for what we lived in. It was next level, below that. Okay, like I tell people, I was underneath the gutter, and there's this mindset that people have that I don't want to embarrass my parents by making more money than them, and it's a real belief. Let me tell you something. By the time I was 12, I was making more money than my parents. Actually, I'm sorry. By the time I was 13, I started my business when I was 12. By the time I was 13, let me correct myself. When I was 13, I started making more money than my parents. Okay? And so you have to understand that what you can do with the money requires is really based on your spiritual knowledge and the light being in you or the darkness being in you. You can choose then to help your people or you can choose to abandon them. It's really up to you. Even though I moved out at a very young age, I still sought to look back to help my mother and help my parents, right? As best as I could. So, just out of the kindness of my own heart. But you're supposed to be version 2.0 or 3.0. People tell me all the time, man, your son, man, your younger son, Justin, man, he's like a 20, but he looks better than you. He's going to be bigger than you. I'm like, he's supposed to be. That's 2.0. Nothing's supposed to stay the same. If it stayed the same, then I failed. Period. So worrying about making more money than your parents is ridiculous. You're supposed to improve. It's supposed to, every generation should get better, not worse, or not stay the same, not stay stagnant. Okay? It's hard to make money or hard to make a lot of money. It's never hard to make money. There's a million ways to make money. I remember a guy that made $1 million on eBay selling certified Wisconsin cow chips. If you don't know what that is, that's cow poop that's dried in the sun. He gave them a certificate of authenticity, and people bought it like it was water coming out of a faucet. There's people making millions of dollars selling cans of air. I bought some. I bought cans of oxygen because I knew that if anybody got sick, even if it was me, that inhaling this high level of oxygen would help me. I have cans of air in my house that I bought. Cans of air. I shouldn't have more money than I need. Well, there's no such thing. Because there's always a use for the funds. Investing in businesses, investing in other people's businesses, giving other people seed capital so that they can have a chance to experience some of the things that you're experiencing. Freedom. Building a legacy fund for the future generations of down your bloodline. All these things are reasons to have more than you have now. If you focus on having just enough, you won't be prepared for the situations that arise, like real estate collapses. Okay. I remember when the real estate market crashed in 2008. I had made millions of dollars prior to 2008, millions. And it was primarily in internet marketing and my .com marketing group, my marketing company. And I said, okay, I want to move into one area where I can just focus on one thing and sit back and relax. So I moved 90% of my assets into real estate, land and pre-construction, as well as property flips. Now, I did too much at once and I put all my eggs in one basket. I did not see the real estate collapse coming. We survived for a little while because even though we lost out on the flips and some of the pre-construction, what we did have was a lot of land. What we ended up doing, though, Countrywide was the only company financing the land, and eventually even they got shut down because they had committed some kind of fraud or something, and they were doing bad loans, or they tried to sell the loans or whatever. So Countrywide Bank got shut down by the feds, and then it got bought by, I think it was Bank of America, decided to buy them out or something. So they took away the product of doing lot loans. So we got stuck with a lot of land. So I was in a situation where I literally had lost almost everything I had, my whole nest egg that I had built up, because I learned, but it taught me a very valuable lesson. I don't like to use the word loss. I use the word learn, the L for learn. I realized you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay. Luckily for me, that time I had more money than I needed, because when that collapse came, I almost lost everything, but I didn't. I was still able to keep my $1.3 million house. I had 5 cars, but I got rid of 3 of the cars. I only needed 2, right? And my kids still played all their sports, did all their travel, went around the country playing in all their events and everything else. Didn't skip a beat. Now, was I able to do a lot of the traveling and some of it? I had to cut back on some things, but because I had more than I needed, I was, and I had a fund set up for myself. I was able to tap into that and keep myself alive and keep my family thriving. And so I learned my lesson. Why? Because prior to that happening, all the way back in, I think it was 1990, I had a situation where I didn't understand that lesson. I didn't get that lesson yet. This is when the lesson just hit me. The first time I had a collapse, I was a marketing rep. I had my own company, and a company I was doing a lot of my marketing for, one of my largest clients, ended up not being able to pay. They had a big situation with ownership, and one of the owners took all the money out of the bank account, fled the country. And I was like, holy crap. I was making like 10 grand a week back in the 90s. That was a lot of money. Right now, that's like making 30 grand a week in comparison. And I was living exactly at my means. I didn't have anything extra, nothing. And guess what happened, guys? I ended up over a 3-month period, ended up losing the house, the car, everything. Ended up sleeping on the beach for a week, on the beach, homeless. I went and got an old hoopty car, slept inside the car at this little tiny rinky-dink motel on A1A off of Biscayne. Okay. And somebody lent me $30 and I changed that into quarters. And then I got on a payphone and I started making cold calls out of the yellow pages and finding more businesses to get more marketing deals from and make myself some appointments, and went out and sold some deals, got some prepayment of some marketing contracts, and got myself back off the street into an apartment. Eventually got a brand new car and moved myself all the way back up the ladder. So that was in my brain when 2008 came. Before it came, I was preparing for something to happen. Examples of beliefs that can make you rich. Money results from providing value to the world. What does that mean? Like I say all the time, the first thing you have to do is learn how to live in your passion. Okay? That means find what you're passionate about. I know I'm passionate about marketing, sales, building companies. I'm passionate about that. I love it. Spreading knowledge and information, helping people, writing books, music. Those are my passions. Okay? Now, what did I do? I found that those passions have value. How do my passions have value? Because other people want access to my passions. And so because they want access to my passions, there's a value attached to that passion. So if you have a passion and you find it and you're good at it, and you find a need for that passion in the world, and then you fulfill that need with your passion, in other words, you make that transaction happen, you make that deal happen, you connect with the people that need it, the side effect is going to be money in your bank account. This is how you make money. To find a need and fill it. But if you find a need and fill it that's within your passion zone, then you'll never work a day in your life. This is how you do it. So you have to get out a piece of paper. You have to write down everything you're passionate about, everything you like, everything that interests you. Just keep writing them down. After you get the paper full of all these ideas, then you got to make one column on another sheet of paper, and you got to write them and put them in order. Use a pencil so you can erase, or use a notepad on your computer. And you got to put them in order of importance to you. And then you got to break it up again into things that you're passionate about, but you don't know how to do yet. I know I love to do this. I just need to be trained. If I can get trained in this, then I'll be great. You got to break it up like that too. Then you got decisions to make. Which ones do I go after? Which ones do I become really good at? And once I become good at it, how do I find a need for that in the world so that I can actually become the person that provides that need, fulfills it, and the side effect will be money in my account, and I'm going to be happy because I love doing this. So you have to research who needs those passions and how those passions interact with business and commerce. Once you figure that part out, you know where to go when you have the talent. Take your talent, Like LeBron said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach at one time, right? Years ago. You take your talents to the market and figure out who needs it. And then you interact with that. And the side effect is money. Money provides freedom and choice. It's all about freedom. On Valentine's Day, I promised my girlfriend that I was going to take her to Jamaica and have a great Valentine's Day. Why? Because it was also her birthday. Her birthday is on Valentine's Day. And she told me that she had never had a good Valentine's Day. It was always heartbreak, or she was always alone. And because of that, it was like a trauma for her. Valentine's Day was like she didn't look forward to Valentine's Day. I was just bringing it up months before it even came. And so during that conversation, when I realized that, I said, I got to make this the best Valentine's Day she's ever had in her life. So I booked a trip to Jamaica, and I had all these excursions set up. I wanted to make sure it was a very special day. It was a birthday / Valentine's Day. I wanted it to be the absolute best she's ever experienced in her life, right? Because I felt she deserved it. Long story short, we get to the airport an hour ahead of time. We go through everything, and 2 hours ahead of time, I'm sorry. But by the time we get to the baggage and this and everything else, the flight, the JetBlue company, airline, they decided to close the doors an hour early. Why? Nobody can figure that out this day. Nobody, everybody's scratching their head. They literally abandoned us and left us at the airport going through security an hour ahead of schedule, which we didn't get a text message, we didn't get a phone call, we didn't get an email, nothing. We went to the front desk at JetBlue at the Fort Lauderdale airport, and the guy was shocked himself. Even the worker was shocked, and he apologized and tried to find another flight. The next flight he could have possibly gotten us on was the next evening, because everything else was sold out. It was Valentine's weekend. I mean, everybody's been booking this for months in advance. I had booked that 6 months in advance. Long story short, everything else would mess up all the special events I had planned for her for that weekend. If we got there the next day at night, we'd miss out on probably 2 or 3 things and then throw the whole thing off. So here's where the freedom comes in. I said, babe, don't worry. She started looking really worried. I said, don't worry, we're going to Jamaica today. She goes, how are we going to go to Jamaica today? I said, we're going to Jamaica today. I got on my phone. I called my driver. I said, get me a private jet. I'm leaving. I need to get to Jamaica today. I need to land today so I can keep my itinerary the same way. No problem, Mr. Carson. Next 2 phone calls, boom, 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 hits me back. I got you guys set up. We're just waiting now on approval from Cuba so we can fly over Cuba, or do we got to know if we got to fly around Cuba. Took a few hours. The next thing you know, we go get lunch. Next thing you know, we're getting on a plane, and we're headed to Jamaica on the same day I said we were going to arrive. You know why? Financial freedom. If you're a person that gets to the airport, and if your bag is a little bit overweight and you can't afford the $75 because your bag's overweight and you got to open up your luggage in front of everybody and start switching things around, that means you're not at the level. That means you haven't been preparing your entire life. Financial freedom. When that happened to me, it could have rocked my whole world, destroyed all my plans. I've been planning on this thing for 6 months. Financial freedom allowed me to be able to do that and leverage my credit. Financial literacy. How was I able to do that? Well, because I've been building and working on my credit and building my business credit, my business has a credit line of over $100,000 every single month. So I use my business line of credit to buy the jet. And then because I'm traveling and we actually work together, she's actually the director of operations for Forbidden Knowledge. That means that, guess what, guys? We're talking business and we actually work there. The whole trip is a business write-off. The whole trip is a business write-off. And then what do? I lent myself the money to pay back the card for my life insurance policy. So I paid the card off before the bill was even due by taking a line of money out of my life insurance, my compounded interest savings in my whole life policy, and paying down the entire flight back to $0 so that it wouldn't affect my company bottom line anyway. And I still get to write off the total amount of that transaction on my taxes. You see how I triple parlayed that? Just a triple parlay off of one thing, and my freedom. These are the kind of things you got to understand, okay? Saving money is easy and enjoyable. That's a great belief. Understanding that saving money is easy and enjoyable. You enjoy saving money, not clipping coupons. There's a difference between being frugal and saving money. Clipping coupons and hunting for 5% off on this and $2 off on this thing, that's not saving money. That's lack of abundance mentality. Just don't get it confused. Trying to find 25 cents off the next pack of gum and all this kind of crazy stuff, that's actually not smart. That you're telling the universe that you're afraid your abundance is going to run out. But saving money, taking a percentage of income and putting it away and then using that money in an investment fund makes a lot of sense. A budget is easy to create and follow. You actually enjoy creating and following a budget for yourself, okay, and holding yourself accountable to that budget. And I only buy things that I need, okay? That's another one. So you buy things that you need. And if you buy something that if you want to buy something that you don't need, you need to make sure you have enough abundance to cover that, all right? The path of least resistance and least trouble is a mental rut already made. It requires troublesome work to undertake the alteration of old beliefs. John Dewey. How to change a belief. Now, there are many ways to address harmful beliefs and replace them with positive. Oftentimes, all that's required is a little attention and an open mind. That's it, guys. An open mind and some attention. Wherever your attention is positioned, that's what grows. That's what grows. Your attention is required, though. Your awareness is required, is really the word I should have used there. For example, I know that after going to Dr. Daniel Amen and getting a SPECT scan of my brain, they noticed a couple of incredible things with my brain. They were very impressed with my frontal lobe activity. And he said, one of the things that he could tell that I have is I have no sense of direction. And how did he know that? Because there's a little dimple right over a spot in my brain that controls navigation, right? That's why I always get lost coming out of elevators and things like that. Crazy. Now, he prescribed a series of things for me to do and supplements to take to help improve that. And it's already started improving itself. Why? I've drawn awareness and attention to that area. I'm aware now of what's causing the problem. And because of that, my awareness and my attention is helping me create change in my own brain in real time. I'm actually reprogramming and rewriting my neurons and rewiring myself in real time every single day. And I'm actually getting better. I suffered from a lack of direction, poor direction for my entire life. And now here I am at the age of 50, going to be 51 soon. And I'm finally able to start understanding what's wrong and making those changes that I need to be able to do to correct the problem. But it's all about the awareness and the attention. When you bring attention to something, it grows. So I brought attention to this weakness. It's becoming better. Same thing in finance. Okay. Many of our beliefs are created during childhood and are never questioned. So it's likely that you have several beliefs about money that are ineffective. You've been programmed to be ineffective in understanding money. You've been programmed to not understand how money really works. And you've been poorly taught about it as well. And you've heard a lot of opinions about it growing up. You've heard a lot of bad advice about it growing up. You know, like don't use credit. You need to be debt free and things like that. The experts can't agree whether beliefs can be changed in an instant or whether it takes a significant amount of time. But like the old Chinese proverb states, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Like I said, I could have just given up on this whole forgetting where I was going and being lost all the time thing. But I decided, you know what? Today, I'm going to put the effort in starting today to make this change in my own body, in my own brain. Okay? And you can do the same thing right now today in finance. And you've already started because you're on this video. You're watching this workshop right now. How to change a belief, neuro-linguistic programming. That's what we're talking about, neuro-linguistic programming. John Grindler and Richard Bandler developed a neuro-linguistic programming. It's called an NLP in the 1970s. And you're probably familiar with also Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker who made the technology popular. All right. I used to watch Tony Robbins when I was a little kid. I used to watch him come on Sundays. Back we had 4 channels on TV. This guy was on TV from back then, before cable TV even existed. Though there are many facets to NLP, where most interested in the use of language and perception to change beliefs. For instance, if you imagine something that frightens you, the way you imagine it has an impact. Now that's powerful. If you imagine something that frightens you, the way you imagine it will have an impact on you. The characteristics of a mental image are called submodalities, and these include the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic details of a mental image. So it's all about how you see, envision, and picture things. And a lot of it has to do with how you even speak on it, because making that audible sound literally creates cymatic frequencies that alter reality and actually program your reality tunnel. Steps to take to change a belief with NLP. Identify a belief that you'd like to change. Identify something that you've now, as of today, realized financially is a weakness for you. Consider an old belief that you no longer consider to be true. Notice the submodalities of this once held belief. Think of something you know to be true. Take note of the characteristics for this belief. So think of something that you no longer consider to be true. Think about it and think about how you feel when you once held that belief, and then do the same thing similar for something you know to be true, and take note of the characteristics for that belief. And think of a belief that you like to add. Find the most advantageous counter belief to the belief in step 1 and notice the submodalities. You'll see that will start to reprogram the way you think about yourself, life, the finances, or whatever the issue or problem is. You'll see that you'll start to not only that, change it. You'll reprogram yourself to see things in a whole new way, and you'll be seeing from a higher perspective, a more broader view. You'll be able to analyze those issues and problems and those poor beliefs a lot better and see them for what they truly are. They're actually illusions. The steps to change a belief with NLP. Eliminate the belief in step 1. Take the characteristics you noticed in step 2 and then apply them to the image in step 1. Now alter the submodalities of the belief you'd like to add to match those of the belief in step 4. Now here's the test. How do you feel about the original belief and the new belief? Can you feel a change? You have to feel. Can you feel emotionally? Can you feel a change? If your behavior changes, you know you're on the right track. It's all about the feeling of the change. Why? Because a human being primarily acts a lot on emotion, and emoting creates a frequency of a high frequency or a low frequency, and those high or low frequencies create address the law of attraction, which pulls into you whatever frequency you're emitting. So if you're emitting a low frequency and you're believing all these falsehoods about money and finance, and you're not being true to yourself, you're going to keep attracting more and more low frequency problems and issues according to finance. They have to do with finance. If you understand the change and you understand the correction needed, and now you start to begin to bring attention to it and want to work on it and want to correct it for the better and change your feeling and emotion about it, you're now at a higher frequency. And now what happens? You start to attract through law of attraction, higher frequency, better vibrational things happening to you financially. It's just that simple. The only thing that permits human beings to collaborate with one another is truly an open mind, an open-ended way, is their willingness to have their beliefs modified by new facts. Only openness to evidence and argument will secure a common world for us. Sam Harris. How to change a belief, logic. Okay, so a lot of us, one of the things that's really important that I've seen lacking in the world today is logic. It has kind of been almost brushed aside. Everybody is more in a reactional state because of trauma and drama. They're full all the way up to here with all the trauma and drama, leaving no more space or room for logic. Humans are thinkers, and we can use logic to our advantage. Beliefs are funny things. Though we can be influenced to believe anything, we're ultimately the creators of our own beliefs. We create our own beliefs, ultimately. Ultimately, no matter who's told you this or that or whatever, ultimately, you lock in. You can't see or touch a belief in the real world. No one can give you a belief you don't accept. This is where we fail a lot. So you're born, you're given a name, a race, and a religion, and you spend the rest of your life defending a false identity. Even though you know as you grow older and you become more wise that this is something that somebody gave to you, that somebody, you know, gave in terms of they told you, they spoke it to you, they fed you the information, they named you and everything else. But you know that you didn't give this to yourself, but you've accepted it. That's an example. You've accepted all of it. We have to realize that we have our own sovereignty. We have our own control. We have power over our lives. And it should be the opposite way around. That's the mindset we have to take on. We got to flip that switch and stop becoming the person that's being bossed around and told what to do, and become the boss. And understand that we have to take sovereignty and power, and we have to become the presidents of our own lives. Stop looking for presidents out there and politicians to help you out and deities to come and save you. You got to come and save yourself. Okay? Use the power of logic to shake the foundation of your harmful beliefs. Logic. Like the Vulcans from Star Trek, you know, live long and prosper, right? Logic is what you have to start focusing on. We have to get out of always in the reactive state and start applying logic. Whether it goes against our belief system or not, let's apply logic and then research that logic and see where it leads us. That's when you start to begin to change your belief systems. The steps to change a belief with logic: choose a belief that you'd like to change. Where did this belief come from? Who gave it to you? Who taught you this information, right? Knowing the origin can help change the belief. Is the source an expert? You need to know this. Are they an expert? Be honest. If somebody taught you, some religion, are they the expert on this? What are their credentials on this? If somebody taught you some kind of science, what is their credentials on that? Where did they get their degree, or what did they study if they don't have a degree? What makes them an expert on this topic? Dig deep now. Be honest. Are they an expert, or are they just regurgitating information that they heard from somewhere? That's important to understand. There's a lot of people just regurgitating information generation to generation. They aren't an expert on anything. They're just giving you information because somebody else told it to them. And now they're repeating it. And a lot of times they're repeating it very poorly. In reality, only a person that's had a lot of money would have the experience to make such a statement. You have to understand, if you're looking for financial wisdom, you're looking for financial advice, and you're getting it from a poor person or a person that hasn't obtained any financial means or done well in anything, then it's highly likely that they could be leading you down the wrong path. Not always, but likely. Not that you don't listen to them, but you have to use logic to discern them. Now, you want to get advice from people that have done a little something in their lives, that have shown some progress, that shown that they've been able to achieve a certain level. Most likely, not in all cases, but in most cases, they've probably got something decent to impart onto you that you can actually analyze and apply logic to. What is another possible explanation? Maybe your current belief is just one possible explanation. Okay? Different perspectives. Realize that we form many beliefs in childhood that fail to uphold examination. And that is why the world is in a state of mind control that it is in right now. Because we literally, have formed beliefs that we never examined. We never did any research on them. We never dug deep into the information. The government gave it to us, the school gave it to us, and we ran away. Our parents gave it to us, and we ran away with it with no deeper investigation into it other than a surface look. Can you see that any other interpretations could also be the truth? Find an interpretation that makes sense, but also works for you rather than against you. So you find different perspectives and see if those perspectives still lead to ultimate same outcome. Okay? And look for something that's going to benefit you, not hurt you. When it comes to controlling human beings, there is no better instrument than lies, because you see, human lives by beliefs, and beliefs can be manipulated. The power to manipulate beliefs is the only thing that counts. Michael Ende. How to change a belief: cost-benefit analysis. That's how you do it. Cost-benefit analysis. You've undoubtedly made lists in the past with the pluses and minuses of your available options. Why don't you do the same with your beliefs? You have to write this stuff down, guys. I keep telling you, I'm always writing something down or texting something or making voice notes to myself so I can figure something out. I don't just glance over with my brain for a quick second and just move on. If you realize what a particular belief is costing you, you'll have greater motivation to address it. It's also important to realize that you gain from beliefs that seem to be holding you back. Analyze the cost and benefit of your challenging money beliefs. You have to analyze them. You know, I know a lot of people, for example, Christians get caught up with the fact that in the according to one of the biblical texts in the New Testament, Jesus went to the temple and he saw people selling products and goods, and he got pissed off and he turned over all the money changers' tables. That has been taught so hard in churches that people believe, who are Christians, believe that having money or doing business or commerce is a bad thing because of that incident in the Bible. They've used it as a way to deter you from becoming a businessman or a businesswoman or having financial success or selling anything to your fellow parishioners or people that follow you or know you. It's a mind job they've done on you, right? They've done an absolute mind job on you for generations. It keeps getting passed down, and people start believing, oh man, it's not good to have money. It's not good to sell things. That's actually incorrect. This whole planet for humans is based on trade and barter and trade. Without that, nothing would happen. You wouldn't even have a computer or TV to watch this live video on. Steps to change a belief with cost-benefit analysis. Choose the belief you wish to change. Consider the belief, I'll never make $100,000 per year, for example, right? What is this belief costing you? If you believe you'll never make $100,000 a year, you'll probably never make it. So if you're only making 40, it's costing you $60,000 because you don't believe it. That would be the difference of the money. 100,000 minus 40,000 that you are making is 60,000. It's costing you 60. That belief costs you $60K a year. For example, how is this belief unreasonable? Few things in life are 100% true all of the time. And how is this belief also ridiculous? Okay, you have to analyze that. It's a ridiculous belief because, well, if I'm believing that I can't make 100,000, I'm already making 40. It's maybe just a few adjustments in my life and my budget that can put me in a position to increase my income. I can end up making more than 100,000. Why would I want to cap myself and think that that's all I can make? That's ridiculous. You know what? I don't know why I thought like that. That doesn't make any sense. Erase that belief out of your system. Analyze it, understand it, and admit you were wrong and move on. What do I gain by holding this belief? Okay. You gain nothing by holding that belief. What would I gain by adopting a more helpful belief? If I start investing some money, if I start watching, creating a budget and watching how I utilize my money, where I'm putting money into assets and investments better, what I'm saving better. All right. Stop buying depreciating things that depreciate fast. And then all of a sudden, maybe I invest some of the money I was spending on something frivolous and invest it into a small business and get more tax breaks from working out of my house. All of a sudden, I'm right at the $100,000 range, just like that. Create an affirmation. State your new belief in a positive, present way. I can earn $100,000 per year. Speak it out loud. Put it on sticky notes and put it around your house. Okay? If that's what you want, if that's your number, whatever your number is. Beliefs have the power to create and the power to destroy. We know this for a fact by looking at history books. Human beings have the awesome ability to take any experience of their lives and create a meaning that disempowers them or one that literally saves their lives. Tony Robbins. We literally are the saviors that we've been waiting for. Okay? Simple action plan. Determine the part of your life, of your financial life, that's causing the most grief. Suppose that you have no retirement and savings. Okay? Make a list of the beliefs that are having the greatest negative impact. Which beliefs are hurting you the most, basically. Address them one at a time. Pick the belief that you think is creating the biggest obstacle. Apply one of the techniques to eliminate it and create a new, more positive belief. This is a step-by-step. I'm walking you through the step-by-step process to reprogram your mind when it comes to understanding and thinking about finances and money for your personal self, okay? A simple action plan. Just to this second part I wrote. Keep going until your behavior matches your wishes, until you see a behavioral change. In other words, until your actions start displaying what you've been focusing and working and bringing your attention to. It's possible to feel better but not take action. Keep that in mind. Keep going until you're taking real action. You can feel better about, now I'm aware of this, and then do nothing. Sit back and kick your feet up and watch the world burn. You can do that all day long. It's up to you. It's a free will universe. Or you can begin to make actionable steps to create a better financial future for yourself. Continue addressing all of your beliefs that don't support your financial future. And this is going to take time, but it's going to be time well spent. Okay. Continue to address them. Continue. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process that you go through, until you can literally get to a point where you are fully converted into a whole new belief system. And when something comes up to challenge that, the first thing you do is you want to analyze it, research it, and see if it's going to help you or hurt you, and how much is it going to cost you, like we just talked about. That's why I break things down. What is this going to cost me? Is this going to take away? Is this going to rob money out of my great-great-grandchildren's mouth, what I'm getting ready to do right now? That's what I think, because I'm building a legacy. We learn our belief systems as very little children, and then we move through life creating experiences to match our beliefs. Think about that. Let me read that to you again. This is a powerful statement, guys. We learn our belief systems as very little children, and then we move through life creating experiences to match our beliefs. We literally project our own reality and create our own reality surrounding the belief system. Look back in your own life and notice how often you've gone through the same experience. And you'll see time and time again, you've created your own reality based off of a belief that you had. You've limited yourself to things because of beliefs. You've put yourself in relationships because of beliefs. You've followed different spiritual paths or religious paths because of beliefs.